This shit that I'm smoking, I barely can breathe.
Did you know that most reviews for health and wellness products may not even be real? Not on iHerb. We verify that every review on our app was made by a real, actual person.
I'm Gil, and I'm a real, actual person.
Download iHerb wherever you get your apps.
And we're starting off the list with Van Gogh's self-portrait with a bandaged ear. On the night of December 23rd, 1888, Vincent van Gogh suffered a severe mental breakdown and cut off a portion of his ear with a razor blade. He wrapped the severed ear in newspaper and gave it to a woman at a nearby brothel before returning home. The exact reasons behind this act, and even the sequence of events themselves, are still a bit foggy, but it is widely believed to have been a result of his deteriorating mental health. He'd also been having an intense argument with a fellow artist that night. Van Gogh was taken to a local hospital in Arles, France, where he was treated by Dr. Felix Ray. In an attempt to understand the extent of his injuries, Van Gogh created a self-portrait with his ear bandaged up. He painted this self-portrait as an attempt to convince doctors he wasn't insane, and as a way to document his physical and mental state during the time. At number 9, we have the Fairy Feller's Master Stroke. This is a famous painting by English artist Richard Dadd. Took him 9 years to complete, painting it between 1855 and 1864. It's a pretty spectacular piece depicting this fantastical scene with tiny fairies, elves, and other mystical creatures. Highly detailed and very intricate. At first glance, it looks like a whimsical fairy tale kind of scene, but behind its charming facade lies a dark and tragic backstory involving the artist himself. Richard Dadd was a talented and promising young artist, but his promising career was cut short due to his deteriorating mental health. In 1843, while traveling in the Middle East, Dadd suffered a severe mental breakdown and was convinced that he was under the influence of the Egyptian god Osiris. In a fit of madness, he believed he needed to take the life of his own father, which he tragically did. Following this incident, Dadd fled to France but was soon arrested and extradited to England. In 1844, he was declared insane and committed to the Bethlehem Royal Hospital, a psychiatric institution in London. It's during his time at the hospital that he began working on the Fairy Feller's Master Stroke. The painting's intricate details and elaborate composition really reflect Dadd's obsessiveness. He worked on the painting meticulously, spending years perfecting every tiny figure and element. You can see those flowers in the background. They look like real flowers. It's insane. It's an amazing piece, but knowing the context definitely takes on a different meaning. Next on the list, we have Saturn Devouring His Son, and by extension, the Black Paintings by Francisco Goya. The Black Paintings are a series of 14 paintings created by the Spanish artist Francisco Goya between 1819 and 1823. The paintings are dark and somber scenes depicting intense suffering, violence, and just despair. Goya painted these works directly onto the walls of his home sometimes outside Madrid. There was a lot of political turmoil at the time when he was creating these works. He also experienced a serious illness in 1819 which left him deaf, further isolating him from the world. The paintings in the series reflect Goya's growing disillusionment with humanity. He just became very negative. The subjects of the paintings are varied. He didn't intend for them to be a part of a series. In fact, they weren't even supposed to be publicly viewed at all. It was only after his death that these paintings were lumped into a series and given the name the Black Paintings. Goya created them in the privacy of his home as a way to cope with his own fears and anxieties, a form of therapy really for
December 1st.
I need you guys to watch that! So like relax, I'm spilling these rats as long as you feel them to the day that I drop. You'll never say that I'm not feeling them. Let's go, baby!
Available now. Buy the Vault Edition to get access to exclusive content.
For him, allowing him to express his darkest thoughts and emotions. Number 7, The Woman of the Rain. The Woman of the Rain is a mysterious painting created by the Ukrainian artist Svetlana Telets in 1996. Telets described experiencing this unusual, unsettling sensation before she even started working on this piece. She claimed to have felt as if someone or something had been watching her for about 6 months leading up to the creation of the painting. During the painting process, she felt a strange sensation, like her hand was being guided by some other force, as if she were not in complete control of her own movements. The painting, its haunting depiction of a woman with a melancholic expression standing in the rain, quickly gained attention in the art world. It wasn't long before a series of disturbing incidents began to unfold among the people who had the painting in their possession. Several buyers reported an eerie presence in their homes. They'd complained of insomnia, having these terrifying nightmares, and very negative emotions that seemed to emanate from the artwork itself. Many of these disturbed owners were so affected by the painting's presence that they ultimately decided to return it, hoping to rid themselves of the disturbing energy that seemed to surround it. And legend has it that the Woman of the Rain depicted in the painting is more than just a figment of the artist's imagination. She is believed to be an actual entity capable of leaving the confines of the canvas. According to some tales surrounding the painting, the Rain Woman has the ability to manifest outside of her painted world, roaming about the homes of those who own the artwork at night. And I gotta say, there's something really eerie about this painting. I agree. I don't know if it's the hat or something, but I don't know. I don't like this one. I don't like looking at it for too long. Next on the list, we have The Anguished Man. The Anguished Man is an infamous painting known for its eerie reputation and the urban legend surrounding it. According to the legend, the unknown artist who created the work mixed his own life fluid with the paint, and not long after completing the work, took his own life. The painting was then stored away, hidden from public eye, until it found its way into the hands of Sean Robinson, its current owner. Sean Robinson received the painting from his grandmother, who had kept it hidden away in her attic. And she would often share stories about hearing disturbing noises emanating from the attic, like wailing and crying during the night. After inheriting the painting, Robinson claimed to have experienced unsettling occurrences in his home. His son reported falling down the stairs, feeling as if he were pushed by unseen hands. Objects in the house would occasionally move on their own. Just get rid of that painting, my God. And at our number 5 spot, we have Man Proposes, God Disposes by Edwin Landseer. The painting depicts 2 polar bears surrounded by the wreckage of a doomed Arctic expedition. One of the doomed Arctic expeditions we probably talked about on this channel. The title of the painting suggests that while humans can make plans and propose ideas, ultimately fate or a higher power represented by God or nature decides our outcome. The painting itself is not associated with any supernatural or malevolent powers, but there are urban legends and myths that surround it, particularly among students at Royal Holloway University of London. One of the biggest stories here is that students who would sit in front of the painting during an exam would fail it. Another urban legend involves a student who took their own life after an exam, leaving a message that read, "The polar bears."
So that's all you need. Okay. Well, the gift card numbers are 293229871.
This made me do it on their exam paper. Number 4, the Virgin Mary painting. There's a painting in St. Charbel's Church in Sydney where a painting of the Virgin Mary seems to be moving its lips during a prayer one day, which churchgoers claimed to be a miracle. This would be a pretty creepy miracle, in my opinion. The idea of pictures or paintings moving That's always just giving me the creeps. If this is indeed a miracle, kind of a pointless one too. I mean, like, what would the Virgin Mary making her lips move in a painting be accomplishing exactly? Anyway, there's a video of this moving painting online. I can kind of see some movement, but it looks to me like the video itself is moving. Everything in the frame seems to be distorting, but apparently there were a lot of witnesses who claimed to see the same thing, that her lips were moving, so I don't know. In at number 3, we have Portrait of a Lady by Juan Luna. Completed in 1890, the artwork features a woman said to be Luna's wife, Paz Pardo de Tavera, who he took the life of. There are stories about unfortunate events that occurred around the painting and to the various owners. People who have owned the painting have experienced accidents and even death. One incident involved its first owner, who suffered a tragic death shortly after acquiring the work. The painting then passed through a bunch of different owners, each reportedly experiencing unfortunate events, leading to the belief that the artwork carries some kind of curse. Said that Paz's spirit was trapped in the painting, bringing misfortune to whoever comes in contact with it. Next up, we have the scariest picture on the internet. So looking at this image, you wouldn't think there's much to it. Kind of looks like an AI rendering, actually. Looking back now, but there's an early creepypasta associated with this image that started going around the internet in the 2000s. There are a couple versions of the story, but basically this portrait is a woman who supposedly took her own life. There's a version of the tale where she painted the portrait herself. Another goes that her boyfriend painted it. No matter what the version, the image is said to be so cursed that staring at it for too long can bring some bad stuff your way. Some say that after a while her face will start to contort, becoming disfigured and monstrous. Another goes that a man became so intrigued by the image that led to a bit of an obsession. He just couldn't stop looking at it. Eventually, he took his own life. Finally, we have Ivan the Terrible and his son, Ivan, by Ilya Repin. This is a painting created by Russian artist Ilya Repin in 1885. The painting depicts a dramatic moment in Russian history, capturing the Tsar, Ivan IV, cradling his dying son, Ivan Ivanovich, shortly after delivering a fatal blow to him in a fit of rage. The painting by Repin shows this heart-wrenching moment in hyper-realistic detail, emphasizing the grief and remorse on Ivan the Terrible's face as he realizes what he's done. It's all in the eyes here. Pure torment, like terror and regret. When the painting was displayed, people began to have these very visceral reactions to it. Some would cry, others would have panic attacks, some people would reportedly faint, and some would snap into bursts of rage. One story goes that a painter by the name of Abram Balashov freaked out on the painting, slashing the canvas with a knife while screaming, "Stop the bloodshed." It is a very disturbing painting. Those eyes, I cannot get over those eyes.
Number 10, the Hope Diamond. The Hope Diamond is gorgeous. It's 45.52 carats, is a dark grayish blue color, and the pendant surrounding the Hope Diamond contains 16 white diamonds.
Attention patriots, scan this QR code for a chance to win this mystery box for free. Or skip this ad if you hate free things. I can tell you right now this is going to upset a ton of people because we're giving.
Now the necklace chain it's on also contains 45 white diamonds, and French monarchs, an heiress, and at least one unlucky postman have met their misfortune after possessing it. The Hope Diamond's allegedly cursed reputation is well known. The diamond gets its name from London banker Henry T. Hope, who purchased it in 1839. After Hope's death, the diamond passed through the hands of various owners, and in America the gem was feared lost in a shipwreck, but that rumor was refuted when the diamond appeared at a public auction in Paris on June 29, 1909. Evelyn Walsh McLean, a Washington, D.C. socialite and the wife of the former owner of the Washington Post, acquired the diamond in 1911 for $180,000. Now she too suffered the curse of the diamond as her husband died in a mental institution, her eldest son died in a car accident, and her daughter took too many sleeping pills. She believed in the curse, but she continued to wear the diamond but would not sell it for fear of bringing bad luck to someone else, which is really considerate if you think about it. After Evelyn's death in 1947, the diamond was found along with $4 million worth of other jewels stored in shoeboxes in her bedroom. Then Henry Harry Winston, a leading American jeweler and gem dealer, bought the diamond from her estate in 1949, and in 1958 he donated the diamond to the Smithsonian Institution where it is today. Number 9. The Iceman. The mummy of Otzi, aka the Iceman, was found in 1991 in the Otzol Alps, Italy. It is believed that the Iceman belonged to 3000 BCE and his body was preserved because of the glacier that surrounded him after he died. However, soon after his discovery, people who were involved with his discovery began to die due to violent accidents. Forensic pathologist Rainer Henn died in a horrific car accident, mountaineer Kurz Fritz died in an avalanche, and hiker Helmut Simon died after falling off a dangerous hidden path. The Iceman then claimed 3 more lives in quick succession between 2004 and 2005. It's thought that anyone who comes into contact with the Iceman will die, and people believe the discovery of Iceman is a curse and has the power to destroy mankind. Now that does sound extremely cursed, and I would not want to go near that ever. Number 8. The Little Manny. A 3-inch tall stone head is known as the Little Manny with his daddy's horns. Strange name, I know. After a cleaning lady stumbled upon it in a basement floor in Manchester, England, local scholars Tony Ward and Pat Ellison Reid explored the site and found evidence of a strange ritual. As Manchester Museum curator John Pragg said, it was around a circle of candle holders, and inside the circle they found the remains of chicken and hair bones, ivory counters used for scoring at billiards, and other offerings including a mother figure whose head had been broken off accidentally. Since the Little Manny looked a lot like a Celtic stoneheads, everyone generally assumed that's what it was, but when it was displayed at the Manchester Museum in 1991, a visitor identified it as Namali, a type of figurine from Sierra Leone. While Namali is known to bring strong harvests and other good fortune, the Little Manny seemingly brought a fair amount of bad luck to its British handlers. Manchester Museum staff members suffered car accidents, bike accidents, burglaries, broken pant zippers, and all other manners of trouble. Number 7. Cursed Maori warrior masks. Maoris are the indigenous people of New Zealand, and according to Maori tradition, the warriors carve and paint masks before a battle, and it is said if they die, their spirits live within the mask. The warrior mask is an important part of their tradition. Now, Maori tradition dictates that a menstruating woman is tapu or taboo, and so are the masks. So if both of them come into contact with each other, it would invoke a curse. Also, pregnant women are considered sacred, so a Maori museum in Wellington, New Zealand tells pregnant and menstruating women to stay away from several sacred Maori artifacts, including traditional Maori warrior masks, as they could invoke a curse. Now, if
This is not a water bottle. It's an air-up bottle that flavors ordinary water through scent using flavor pots. This is Joanne, getting her daily dose of hydration without sugar or additives. And this is Bob, unnecessarily throwing his coins away in the vending machine. You're lost, Bob. Air Up. It's not a water bottle. Discover now.
this could happen, why would they even show it off? It would stress me out if I ever went or worked in that museum. Number 6. The Conjure Chest. The Conjure or Conjured Chest is a chest of drawers that has taken the lives of about 16 people. As the story goes, an enslaved man named Remus custom made this item for his enslaver, Jeremiah Graham, in Kentucky circa 1830. Jeremiah, displeased with Remus's work, beat him to death. Now, in retaliation, Remus's friends then cursed the chest by scattering dried owl blood in its drawers. But the Grahams used this chest and passed it down to their family for 140 years, and death or injury came to anyone who stored their apparel inside. In the mid-20th century, Virginia Carey Hudson Cleveland had 2 of her offspring die and her husband die after being rushed to the hospital for appendicitis. Now, a neighbor also died after an accident involving a weapon, and all had used the chest. So Virginia enlisted the help of her maid, Sally, to undo the curse. They followed the steps that included procuring a dead owl and boiling willow leaves. Sally said that if she or Virginia then died, it would prove that the curse had broken, and months later, Sally did die. When Virginia's daughter inherited the chest, she opted not to use it, which is why she's the smartest person in that family, because why wouldn't they just get rid of it? Number 5. scarab. Rumor has it that the Smithsonian is the home to many ancient Egyptian treasures and artifacts, and now were they stolen, that's a completely different story, but it is said that these items are cursed, and I mean, with all those movies about Egyptian curses, this really doesn't surprise me. They have a scarab believed to be from King Tut. Now if you don't know what a scarab was like me, they were popular amulets and impression seals in ancient Egypt. There are many of them, and through their inscriptions and typology, they are an important source of information for archaeologists and historians of the ancient world. Now it's said that bad luck will follow anyone who touches King Tut's body or anything in his tomb, and since this amulet belonged to him, I'd say watch out. Now in 1922, when King Tut's tomb itself was unearthed after more than 3,000 years of uninterrupted rest, some believe the pharaoh unleashed a powerful curse of death and destruction upon all who dared to disturb his eternal slumber. So since this scarab belonged to him, it's believed to be actually cursed from King Tut himself, so I'd say away. Number 4. Black Aggie. Black Aggie is the name given to a statue formerly placed on the grave of General Felix Agnes in Druid Ridge Cemetery in Pikesville, Maryland. Beginning with its installation in 1926, it was surrounded by many urban legends. These included that the spirits of individuals buried at Druid Ridge would annually convene at the statue, that no grass would grow on the ground where the statue's shadow would lie during the daytime, and that the statue would animate itself during the night, whether by physically moving or by showing glowing red eyes. It was said those who saw her eyes were said to have had their lives ended by her, or she would cause you to go blind. Oh, and one last thing, if you sit on the statue's lap at midnight, you will die in 2 weeks. So due to these urban legends, it led to much unwelcome attention towards the statue, and many people were caught breaking into the cemetery at night to visit it, and the pedestal was frequently vandalized. So in response, the Agnes family, disturbed by the attention the statue received, donated it to the Smithsonian in 1967. Besides these legends, there apparently are real stories about the statue taking people's lives. One man put a cigarette out on the statue, which is just disrespectful to begin with, and he was later found dead due to him getting shot in the head. Another man was found dead at the foot of the statue, and no one knows his cause of death. So if I were you, I'd stay far, far away from Black Aggie. Number 3. The Hands Resist Him. The Hands Resist Him is a painting by Bill Stoneham. It's also known as the Haunted eBay Painting. The painting is based off a real-life photograph of the artist from him around the time he was 5 years old. The painting depicts a young boy and a doll in front of a glass door with
Well, Lahaina Heals, we welcome you to support our local makers. Learn our stories. Travel mindfully.
disembodied hands in the background. Now, a California couple found the painting in an abandoned brewery, but in February 2000, not long after they brought it home, they listed it on eBay with a warning to buyers. It said this painting may or may not possess supernatural powers that could impact or change your life. Now, let me just say, if something you're thinking about buying comes with a warning like that, I'd suggest not buying it. Now, the couple claimed their daughter told them that the boy and girl from the painting would fight with each other at night, and the ad also mentioned that at one point the boy seemingly exited the picture, which is when they decided to sell. It sold for $1,025 to Kim Smith, a gallery owner from Michigan. In an interview, she revealed that she received emails from people who claimed they were repulsed or became physically ill just by viewing a photo of the painting, and I honestly think that they should just burn it. Number 2. The Unlucky Mummy. The Unlucky Mummy is an ancient Egyptian artifact in the collection of the British Museum in London. The identity of the original owner is unknown, and this painted wooden mummy board of an unidentified woman was acquired by the British Museum in 1889. So the Unlucky Mummy isn't actually a mummy, but the mummy board or coffee lid of a high-status woman who lived around 950 to 900 BCE. Discovered in Thebes in the 1800s, the 4 young Englishmen who first purchased the mummy all died in unfortunate circumstances. The mummy board has acquired a reputation for bringing misfortune, as it has been credited with causing death, injury, and large-scale disasters, such as the sinking of the RMS Titanic in 1912, thereby earning the nickname the Unlucky Mummy. The Unlucky Mummy has also been linked to the death of British writer and journalist Bertram Fletcher Robinson. He conducted research into into the history of the artifact while working as a journalist for the Daily Express newspaper during 1904. He became convinced that the unlucky mummy had malevolent powers and died just 3 years later at age 36 years old. With a name like that, I'd stay away from it too. And coming in at number 1 is the Grand Grimoire. The Grand Grimoire, nicknamed the Gospel of Satan, isn't really a book I'd want to read, and I think a lot of people wouldn't want to read it due to this either. The book is said to be written by a man possessed by the devil. The 16th century book is known as one of the most terrifying occult books in existence. It contains dark incantations and instructions on how to summon demons and raise spirits from the dead. That last part might sound appealing to those who are grieving or suffering from loss, but this book's dark reputation makes it one of the most feared medieval manuscripts of all time. Even opening the book is considered equivalent to selling your soul to the devil. Now thankfully the Grand Grimoire is not available for purchase due to this, and I mean, who would even want to buy that? It said that the original copy is currently kept in the Vatican Secret Archives and not currently available to the public, and I think that's a good call. Coming in at number 10 is the Megara Cave. The Megara Cave is located in northwestern Bulgaria. Cave paintings there have been estimated to be made between 10,000 and 8,000 years ago. The drawings represent important events of the society that had occupied the Megara Cave, such as religious ceremonies, hunting scenes, and depictions of deities which are unique on the Balkan Peninsula. The fertility dance and the hunting ceremony rank among the most noteworthy paintings. One grouping from the Bronze Age has been interpreted as a solar calendar. According to Alexei Stoev and Penka Valkova-Stovia, hope I said their names right, Bronze Age paintings of staggered black and white squares used to count the days in the calendar month permit to describe fairly accurately the number of days in the solar tropical year. So did this cave painting predict the use of calendars? I think so. The cave paintings allowed storing information about regional solar calendars, customs, religious festivals, and rituals of the society, which is the earliest representation yet to be discovered in Europe. Number 9. Astronomy. A new study says that some of the world's oldest cave paintings reveal that ancient people had relatively advanced knowledge of astronomy. According to the new analysis, some of the paintings are not simply depictions of wild animals, as was previously thought. Instead, the animal symbols represent star constellations in the night sky and are used to represent dates and mark events such as comet strikes. Researchers from the universities of Edinburgh and Kent studied details of Paleolithic and Neolithic art featuring animal symbols at sites in Turkey, Spain, France, and Germany. They found all the sites used the same method of date keeping based on sophisticated astronomy, even though the art was separated in time by tens of thousands of years. According to the study published November 2nd, 2018, the cave painting suggests that, perhaps as far back as 40,000 years ago, humans kept track of time using knowledge of how the position of the stars slowly changes over thousands of years. The findings indicate that the astronomical insights of ancient people were far greater than previously believed. Their knowledge may have aided navigation of the open seas, the researchers say, with implications for our understanding of prehistoric human migration. Martin Sweatman, the University of Edinburgh School of Engineering, led the study and said early cave art shows that people had advanced knowledge of the night sky within the last ice age. Intellectually, they were hardly any different to us today. Researchers reinterpreted earlier findings from a study of stone carving at one of these sites in modern-day Turkey, which is interpreted as a memorial to a devastating comet strike around 11,000 BC. This strike was thought to have initiated a mini ice age known as the Younger Drawes period. Number 8. Willinga Rock Art Panel. In Australia, this rock art panel contains more than 200 motifs. Stylistic changes in the layering of the paintings suggest that they were painted in the last 3 broad painting phases. Changes in social, political, economic, and religious life are often marked by changes in visual expression such as found in this cave. Although the rock art is yet to be radiocarbon dated, some of the layers are likely to be at least 3,000 years old and may have much earlier origins. The oldest paintings have recently been called Walina figures, since this particular style of figure has only been encountered in this rock art shelter. These figures have elongated bodies and large round heads circled with headdresses. They have eyes and noses, but no mouths. Most are painted with white outline and black infill. Now, what do these faces mean? Are they even drawings of humans, or are they aliens, or some sort of otherworldly creature? Seems like we may never know. Number 7. Cave of Swimmers. The Cave of Swimmers is a cave with ancient rock art in the Libyan desert section of the Sahara. The cave and rock art was discovered in October 1933. Now the drawings include those of a giraffe and a hippopotamus, and they're estimated to have been created as early as 10,000 years ago, with the beginning of the African humid period, when the Sahara was significantly greener and wetter than it is today. On the wall there also looks like there's some sort of humanoid creature swimming. Physical scientists who have been conducting research in the area drew a provisional link between the proposed swimming humans and two lakes that are 124 miles south of the cave. However, Andres Borre, an archaeologist who is doing the research in the area, questions whether the figures are swimming or not. He believes that the drawings are clearly symbolic with an unknown meaning. Now, I'm gonna say what we're all thinking. These are drawings of mermaids, right? Perhaps mermaids were around at that time and then they went into hiding. And hopefully one day they'll reveal themselves to us again. Number 6. Las Gil. Las Gil are cave formations on the rural outskirts of Hargeisa, Somaliland. They contain some of the earliest known cave paintings of domesticated African arcs in the Horn of Africa. Las Gil's rocks art is estimated to date circa 3,500 to 2,500 BCE. During November and December 2002, an archaeological survey was carried out in Somaliland by a French team of researchers. During the course of the survey, the excavation team discovered Las Gil cave paintings that encompass an area of 10 rock caves. In an excellent state of preservation, the rock art depicts wild animals and decorated cattle, cows, and bulls. Now, could this be them trying to honor the animals, or
I can't hear nothing you're saying.
Cows will rule the world? Unlikely, but I'll put it out there. They also feature herders, which are believed to be the creators of the painting. Number 5. The Great Gallery. The Horseshoe Canyon in Utah contains some of the most significant rock markings in North America. The Great Gallery includes well-preserved sites figures with intricate designs. This well-preserved site includes both pictographs, painted figures, and petroglyphs, figures etched in rock with a sharp stone. The tampered life-size figures lack arms and legs, but frequently contain intricate designs. Now, was the lack of arms and legs a choice, or did they have some people who were a part of that community that didn't have legs or arms? I'm not too sure, but other impressive sites include spring wildflowers, sheer sandstone walls, and mature cottonwood groves along the intermittent stream in the canyon bottom. Artifacts recovered from the site in this area date back to as early as 9,000 to 7,000 BCE. Number 4. Big Rock. The paintings on the Big Rock near Okotoks, Alberta are estimated to be anywhere from hundreds to thousands of years old. The Blackfoot people used the rock as a landmark for finding a crossing over the Sheep River before European settlers arrived. There are countless First Nation legends associated with the rock, some of which were relayed through pictographs painted onto its surface. Now, according to local elders, one such painting depicts a journey. The arrows point in the direction of travel, north, while moons or circles tell the time it took to complete the journey. There are 17 moons in total, meaning it likely took 17 months to complete the trek. The symbols and figures at the top of this pictograph may indicate why the journey was made. This is essentially a map with instructions made out of pictures, which is pretty cool. Number 3. The UFO. Chattisgarh State Department of Archaeology and Culture plans to seek help from NASA and ISRO for research on 10,000-year-old rock paintings depicting aliens and UFOs in Chartama region of Cantor District. According to archaeologist Jay Baggett, these paintings have depicted aliens like those shown in Hollywood and Bollywood films. Located about 130 kilometers from Raipur, Baggett said the findings suggest that humans in prehistoric times may have seen or imagined beings from other planets, which still create curiosity among people and researchers. Extensive research is needed for further findings. Chattisgarh presently doesn't have any such expert who could give clarity on the subject. Now, there are several beliefs among locals in these villages. While few worship the paintings, others narrate stories that they have heard from ancestors about Rohilla people, the small-sized ones, who used to land from the sky in a round-shaped flying object and take away 1 or 2 persons of the village who never returned. Now, the paintings are done in natural colors that have hardly faded despite the years. The strangely carved figures are seen holding weapon-like objects and do not have clear features. Specifically, the nose and mouth are missing. In a few pictures, they are even shown wearing spacesuits. We can't refute the possibility of imagination by prehistoric men, but humans usually fancy such things, the archaeologist said. Number 2. Lascaux Caves. Lascaux Caves is a network of caves near the village of Montignac. Over 600 wall paintings cover the interior walls and ceilings of the cave. The paintings represent primarily large animals, typical local contemporary fauna that correspond with the fossil record of the Upper Paleolithic in the area. They are the combined effort of many generations, and with continued debate, the age of the paintings is usually estimated at around 17,000 years. An amateur researcher assembled a team that included experts from the fields of mathematics, archaeology, and psychology who analyzed the data, compared it to seasonal behaviors of modern animals, and agreed that the numbers represented
Sticker Mule's production process makes it easy to get your custom products fast. You simply select a size and quantity, upload your artwork, and breeze through checkout. As soon as you place your order, our team begins creating a free digital proof based on your artwork. During this process, we add cut lines or borders based on your instructions and file. We'll even fix low-resolution artwork for you. Within a few hours, you'll receive a notification that your proof is ready. Your proof shows exactly how we intend to produce your order. You can request changes for free or cancel your order anytime before approving your proof. After approval, we charge your credit card and immediately begin production at our factory. This ensures we can print, cut, and ship your products as fast as possible. Meanwhile, reorders skip directly to production, making future orders even faster and easier. Our fast production process is one more reason Sticker Mule is the internet's favorite printer.
By dots and slashes are not cardinal but rather ordinal representations of months. As to the frequent occurring symbol that represents a Y, it indicates the month in which various female animal birth their young. The team theorized in the Cambridge Archaeological Journal that this mark may constitute the first known example of an action word, i.e. a verb to give birth. Taken together, the cave paintings and non-figurative markings tell an old-age circular tale of migration, birthing, and mating of birds, bison, fish, horses, mammoths, rhinos, and others. Did these paintings create the first fertility app? I don't know, but it's pretty impressive that they were able to keep track of all of that. And coming in at number 1 is hunting paintings. An Indonesian splunker named Hamara was exploring the grounds of a concrete plant on the island of Sulawesi in 2017 when he found a cave full of art. The painting depicts 2 pigs and 4 small body relatives of water buffalo, as well as what appears to be 8 humanoid figures that are 2 to 4 inches tall. Some of the human figures are holding long, spindly objects pointed toward the animals that might be ropes or spears. The humanoid figures bear usual features, including one with a stubby tail and another with a bird-like beak. Now, why would they draw humans like this? Were they thinking of what a cross of a human and an animal would be, like our present-day crossbreeding experiments? Or dare I say, did they come up with the concept of furries? Whether the art depicts a hunt or some other event, it's likely the oldest known story told through pictures, and the researchers say as the mural dates back to at least 44,000 years. Number 10. Dybbuk box. In Jewish folklore, a dybbuk is an evil spirit. Supposedly, someone accidentally summoned the demon while using a homemade Ouija board, but managed to trap it inside the wine cabinet. The Dybbuk box came to light in 2001 when Kevin Mannis purchased it and started having terrible nightmares. He then decided to gift the cabinet to his mother, who suffered a stroke the very day she received it. Not just this, but every person who ever owned that wine cabinet has reported experiencing horrible events. The last owner of the cabinet, Jason Haxton, found out the box possesses a spirit of a malicious Jewish creature called a Dybbuk, who has the ability to haunt and possess the living. Jason not only had nightmares, but also developed a strange skin disease and began coughing up blood. At that point, Jason contacted his local rabbis and sealed the Dybbuk back in the box. Jason later, wanting nothing to do with the box, gave the cabinet to Zach to display it in his museum. You actually may have heard of this box before, because in 2018, fans of rapper Post Malone claimed that his spat of bad luck was caused by his contact with the cabinet. Number 9. Charles Manson's cremated ashes. Charles Manson was a criminal who created a cult called the Manson family. It was active in California in the late 1960s and early 1970s. Now, the group consisted of approximately 100 followers who had lived an unconventional lifestyle and frequently used psychoactive substances. Now, the members of the cult believed that he was Jesus Christ and followed everything he did. Now, some members committed a series of 9 deaths at 4 locations in July and August August of 1969. In 1971, Manson was convicted of first-degree homicide and conspiracy to commit homicide for the deaths of 7 people, including the film actress Sharon Tate. When Charles Manson died, his body was cremated, and some of his followers actually took fragments of his ashes to keep as a memento. This led to such creations as the Ryan Almighty blood paintings of Manson, in which the eyes were filled in with Charles's own cremains. Painted in Ryan's own blood, the artistry has to be appreciated, but the morbidness of the painting with the cremated ashes included makes for a unique piece, to say the least. This very painting is on display at the museum along with other Charles Manson memorabilia, including a prison-worn outfit, Manson's own TV, and even more ashes in a display case along with Manson's dentures. Number 8. Love Ranch Bed. Zach acquired the bed and bedroom furniture, a Bunny Ranch.
They thought peanut butter whiskey was crazy. To them, we say, screw it. Nuts? We must be. Delicious? Yup. Screwball peanut butter whiskey. Unexpectedly delicious.
And Love Ranch owner Dennis Hoff, which eerily includes the mattress Dennis died on. Dennis died in that room of a heart attack on October 16, 2018. He was 72 years old. Now this just so happens to be the same mattress Lamar Odom was on when he overdosed 3 years prior in October 2015. Safe to say a lot of bad things have happened on that mattress. Zach says they never swapped out the mattress in the Love Ranch room, and now folks at the legal Nevada brothel believe it's cursed. Zach said that he was told that the bed was cursed, so of course he wanted to add it to his collection. Number 7. Dr. Jack Kevorkian's van. Jack Kevorkian publicly championed a terminal patient's right to die by physician-assisted suicide, embodied in his quote, "Dying is not a crime." It said that he assisted at least 130 patients in ending their lives. For this, he was convicted of homicide in 1999 and was often portrayed in the media with the name of Dr. Death. Jack, who died in 2011, lived out of a van for periods of his life and used it to carry out some of his crimes. Zach found this van and paid $32,500 for the rusty 1968 Volkswagen van, which has been parked in storage at the American Jewelry and Loan Pawn Shop on 8 Mile in Detroit. Now it sits at his museum for all to see. Number 6. Demon House Staircase. From a very intriguing standalone documentary of the same name, the Demon House was an investigation undertaken by Zach and the team at a home in Indiana, where the family claimed that numerous members of the family had been possessed by a spirit. The local police department and even social services within the local area were convinced that the house was some way haunted. From footsteps in the corridor to full-on body possession, the Demon House creeped Zach and the team out more than anything we've witnessed on the show before. Now Zach actually purchased the home for himself for investigations back in 2014 and used it to film the documentary before bulldozing it entirely in 2016, taking pieces of it, including the staircase, back to the haunted museum. Number 5. The house itself. The mansion housing the museum has reportedly been haunted for years. It was built in 1938 and owned by businessman Cyril S. Wenger, and rumor has it dark rituals took place in the basement in the 1970s. There was a pentagram found in the basement, and this is where supposedly a young boy was sacrificed. It is some kind of satanic altar supposedly to invoke the spirits down there, and it's an extremely evil place in the house. During the tour, they try to usher people through the basement as quickly as possible because it's so scary. Now the mansion at one point was turned into a law firm where strange occurrences continued before the place was purchased by Zach and was eventually converted into Zach Bagans' The Haunted Museum. Number 4. Bela Lugosi Mirror. Hollywood star and Dracula actor Bela Lugosi is one of the world's most famous horror actors, but did you know that he once owned a mirror believed to be haunted? It is reported that he was obsessed with practicing a form of clairvoyance, which would involve him staring into inanimate objects to try and conjure messages from spirits. One such object reportedly used by the actor for such practice was a mirror, which hung in Bella's Hollywood Hills home. Zach was given the mirror by the niece of lawyer and B-movie producer Frank Saltry, who formerly lived in the home once owned by Bella. However, Frank tragically died at the home in 1982, and following his death, the producer's family inherited the mirror. Soon after bringing the mirror home, though, the family began to notice that paranormal activity began to occur in their own home. Believing Bella's own practices and her uncle's death to have affected the mirror, she later took the object to paranormal investigator Zach. After taking the mirror from Frank's niece, the star also encountered his own paranormal experiences around the mirror when he investigated his own museum for a 2017 episode of Ghost Adventures. This included seeing a ball of light that appeared on the opposite wall of the mirror, which Zach said traveled across the room and went inside the mirror. Now that sounds extremely haunted to me. Number 3, Ed.
With extreme weather in multiple areas, the big man's going to have his work cut out for him tonight.
We are now tracking Santa as he cruises over the Keys.
Strong headwinds, rains, freezing temperatures.
It's looking like a snow globe. It's not making Santa's job any easier tonight.
Gene Cauldron. Ed Gein ended the lives of people and was a grave robber. He created costumes, furniture, and other keepsakes from the bodies of his victims. A police raid on his house turned up masks literally made from human faces, a belt of nipples, and a corset created from a skinned torso. To be clear, he never wore these costumes when ending people's lives. Instead, he donned them in the privacy of his home. Now, some masks appeared to be mummified, almost dried out, while others were more carefully preserved. A few had lipstick applied and looked more lifelike, and 4 had been stuffed with paper and hung on the wall of his bedroom, almost like hunting trophies. Leatherface from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Buffalo Bill from The Silence of the Lambs, and Norman Bates were all based on Ed. Zach paid $2,800 at an auction to take possession of the 25-gallon cauldron Ed used to discard his victims' entrails when he gutted them. The thing had been sitting in a Wisconsin woman's home, used as a flower pot ever since Ed's 1984 death in prison. When she died, her son wisely believed the cauldron was cursed and wanted it gone, so now it's Zach's. Number 2. Peggy the doll. Warning, looking into this doll's eyes can cause you to have health issues or even get haunted. Please watch at your own risk. Now, Peggy the doll is a 3-foot tall doll that has a blonde hair bob with glassy blue eyes and is considered to be the most haunted and dangerous doll in the world. After being purchased at a car boot sale, the owner began having nightmares and felt as though she was being haunted by the doll. She contacted Jane Harris, a paranormal and haunted doll investigator, and eventually sent the doll to her. Jane and her team of psychics began working with the doll, running experiments, or having paranormal sessions with it, and began posting photos and videos of the doll online. That is when she began to receive comments from people who had seen the video, and immediately after viewing began to have chest pain, nausea, and or crippling headaches. So yes, she can haunt you through a screen. Jane has come to the conclusion that the doll is possessed by the spirit of a woman who was born in 1946 who died of a chest-related condition like asthma. Now, Peggy's picture alone is said to cause anxiety, heart attacks, and headaches. Now, Peggy is treated with extreme respect in the museum. She has her own room and a spirit box which is linked up to the room so guests can interact with her if they wish. Many guests have received very strange feedback through the spirit box, including being called out by name and conscious replies to certain questions asked on her guided tours. Now, looking up information about Peggy was absolutely terrifying, and Peggy, if I accidentally looked into your eyes, I am so sorry. And coming in at number 1 is the Devil's Chair. Ed and Lorraine Warren helped exorcise a possessed boy named David Glatzel in the early 80s. They did many exorcisms on David, and Lorraine said that David levitated, ceased breathing for a time, and even demonstrated the supernatural ability of precognition. During his exorcisms, there was also a rocking chair in the room that would allegedly rock on its own, levitate, and even vanish and reappear. David and Lorraine also claimed to have seen the devil sitting in it. Now, Zach purchased the chair to be on display in his museum, but he had been forced to shut down his haunted rocking chair exhibit. Why? Well, Zach and his friend noticed the door to the chair's room slowly creaked open all by itself. Zach also says a light focused on the chair went out when a power cord was mysteriously yanked out of the wall. 2 hours later, he said a woman collapsed, began bawling, and asked, "What is happening to me?" Shortly thereafter, she fell unconscious, according to Zach, who adds that the woman was upstairs directly above the rocking chair exhibit. Later, Zach said 5 of his tour guides throughout the museum started crying uncontrollably. After just a few tours on opening night, the stress was too much for Zach, and it forced him to shut it down altogether for the night. Now, says the whole rocking chair exhibit is closed until further notice, but in the middle of 2022,
Okay.
YouTubers Sam and Cole
Oh, I bet. So fuck it. You wanna
that I love, by the way, were given special permission to not only see or touch the chair.
You know, it's crazy to say that because I'd rather do Tell the Symphonia, to be honest.
More is merrier at Olive Garden.
Cause all of this shit is really pissing me off. I'm not like I'm just gonna be blatant with
Let
it.
me just say they are braver than me because, wow. Number 10, Memorial. Memorial is the name of this painting by Benton Spruance made in 1951. Now just looking at it makes me feel like it's haunted. I don't need any backstory here. The painting is of heads, skulls, and creepy masks on what appears to be a stake in the ground, and there's a cross in the background. It's just unsettling, and one of those faces has black eyes and only 2 teeth, and I do not like it. Benton was known for making creepy work, so it's not shocking that he came up with this. A number of guests and staff believe that this
Can you hear
painting
the
is haunted, and I believe them.
Captain in the background well?
Painting gives people
Should I turn it up a little bit more?
feeling, and apparently there was a cold spot on the painting, which was strange because it was never near a vent or window that could cause a breeze. The painting was a gift from John B. Turner, and I suspect that he knew it was haunted and wanted to get rid of it. Number 9, Scarab. Rumor has it that the Smithsonian is home to many ancient Egypt treasures and artifacts. Now, were they stolen? That's a completely different story, but it's said that these items are cursed. With all those movies about Egyptian curses, this really doesn't surprise me. They have a scarab believed to be from King Tut. If you don't know what a scarab was like me, they were popular amulets and impression seals in ancient Egypt. There are many of them, and through their inscriptions and typology, they are an important source of information for archaeologists and historians of the ancient world. Now, it's said that bad luck will follow anyone who touches King Tut's body or anything in his tomb, and since this belonged to him, I'd say watch out. In 1922, when King Tut's tomb itself was unearthed after more than 3,000 years of uninterrupted rest, some believe the pharaoh unleashed a powerful curse of death and destruction upon all who dared to disturb his eternal slumber. So, since this scarab belonged to him, it's believed to actually be cursed from King Tut himself, so I'd stay away. Number 8, Mummified Cat Head. Yep, you heard that right, a mummified cat head. Only the head though, we don't know where the rest of the body is. It's a cat from 332 to 30 BC, it's wrapped in linen, and the ears are elaborately painted and modeled on the face of this cat mummy to give it the look of a real cat. The head contains a cat skull, and it was originally part of a complete cat mummy. Many workers have claimed to have seen a cat apparition move around this display. It's also seen around the halls and other exhibits as well. Now, it's probably just trying to find the rest of its body and doesn't mean any harm, but I feel like having a ghost cat, though, would be fun. Number 7, the Weeping Woman. The Weeping Woman in Verona is a legend that has a wide variety of details and versions. In a typical version of the legend, a beautiful woman named Maria marries a rich man to whom she bears 2 children with. One day, Maria sees her husband with another woman, and in a fit of blind rage, she drowns their offspring in a river, which she immediately regrets. Unable to save them and consumed by guilt, she drowns herself as well, but is unable to enter the afterlife, forced to be in purgatory and roam this earth until she finds her offspring. The legend of La Llorona is deeply rooted in Mexican popular culture. It's said that if you hear her cries being distant, it means she's close, and if they seem close, that she's far. She usually has a loud cry, kind of like a coyote or owl. Now, the Smithsonian has this terrifying Weeping Woman doll, which currently isn't on display anymore, and I wonder why. Apparently, it was freaking out too many guests out, and just by looking at it, I can see why. It's also been reported that staff have heard sounds of weeping coming from the doll at night. Some people believe
I'm
that
trying
the
to see what they got
weeping lady is
telling
trapped in that
again.
doll, and all I gotta say is that doll
Want to
is
get
in the
see
wrong
what that shit
museum,
be like,
and it needs to go
man.
to an animal and other cursed objects
I got it. I got to fuck with the FPS settings for the
Number 6, the
fucking
Creeping Doll.
dolphin. Listen, y'all.
Creeping doll,
It
which
shouldn't
is
be
a
that low. I'm
creepy
running on
doll,
120.
is a
It shouldn't be that
prototype
low.
for a doll that could crawl on its
Fucking-
own. It was invented in 1871 by
Shit.
George P.
Baby
Clark.
back
The
bullshit.
goal of the doll was to make it
We'll
crawl
be back.
exactly like human
Fucking
babies do.
bullshit.
The doll's arm, legs, and heads were all made of plaster and were painted. They were
Do
then
I-
attached
what's
to a
my
brass
sense?
clockwork body and moved along with the gears. To be honest, it
I
looks
know
like
that
that
sounds
creepy
like a
robotic
rise.
baby like the one in Toy
I
Story
might
Sid
have it on my
has. Does
PlayStation,
anyone else see the
but
resemblance?
no, I think that.
Now, with this just being
I don't
creepy
remember what
already, it gets even
Absolutely.
creepier. Staff have seen this doll creep forward on its own,
Stop.
and
Don't
others
jump on
have
me,
heard the
dogs.
sounds of
Don't want you
children
jumping
laughing
on me.
and crying near it.
Right, puppy dog?
Although I think
Yeah,
what's
so don't
truly
go.
haunting about this is how many times I've said the word creepy. Number 5. Mary Todd
get down.
Lincoln's dress. Mary Todd Lincoln served as the First Lady of the United States from 1861 until the death of her husband, President Abraham Lincoln, in 1865. Mary Todd married Abraham Lincoln on November 4th, 1842 at her sister Elizabeth's home in Springfield, Illinois. She absolutely loved her husband and was completely distraught when he passed away. She was in mourning for a long time and stayed in widow's clothes up until her own death. Due to this, she never wore any of her other dresses. She had a beautiful purple dress lined with lace, and she gave this dress plus others to her family members. The purple dress was given to her cousin, Elizabeth Todd Grimsley. In 1916, Elizabeth's son sold the dress to the Smithsonian, where it is today. It was to be a part of the First Lady's collection. Now, it's said, though, that this isn't any ordinary dress. Oh no, it is said that the dress is haunted by Mary Todd herself. People have heard weeping when they have been near this dress, which is just sad. There have also been times where people have claimed to see Mary Todd's apparition standing beside the dress. She means no harm, I guess she's just there to mourn, but that would be a sad and creepy sight. Number 4. The Hope Diamond. The Hope Diamond is gorgeous. It's 45.52 carats, it's a dark grayish blue, and the pendant surrounding the Hope Diamond contains 16 white diamonds. The necklace chain it's on also contains 45 white diamonds. Now, French monarchs, an heiress, and at least one unlucky postman have met misfortune after possessing it. The Hope Diamond's allegedly cursed reputation is well known. The diamond gets its name from the London banker Henry T. Hope, who purchased it in 1839. After Hope's death, the diamond passed through the hands of various owners. In America, the gem was feared to be lost in a shipwreck.
Which fan
but the
made
rumor
Pokemon
was
games think I
refuted
should
when
run?
the diamond appeared at a public auction in Paris on June 29th, 1909. Evelyn Walsh McLean, a Washington, D.C. socialite and wife of the former owner of the Washington Post, acquired the diamond in 1911 for $180,000. Now, she too suffered the curse of the diamond as her husband died in a mental institution, her eldest son died in a car accident, and her daughter took too many sleeping pills. She believed in the curse, but she continued to wear the diamond and would not sell it for fear of bringing bad luck to someone else, which is really considerate if you think about it. After Evelyn's death in 1947, the diamond was found along with $4 million worth of other jewels stored in shoeboxes in her bedroom. Then Henry Harry Winston, a leading American jeweler and gem dealer, bought the diamond from her estate in 1949, and in 1958 he donated the diamond to the Smithsonian Institution, where it is today.
Let's see what's up with this jump.
3. Black Aggie. Black Aggie is the name given to a statue formerly placed on the grave of General Felix
I don't think
Angus
it's
in
gonna work,
Druid
but I'm gonna have
Ridge
to take that,
Cemetery in
scene.
Pikesville, Maryland.
That one,
Beginning with its
overlay.
installation in 1926, it was surrounded by many urban legends. These included that the spirits of individuals buried at Druid Ridge will annually convene at the statue, that no grass would grow on the ground where the statue's shadow would lie during the daytime, and that the statue would animate itself during the night, whether by physically moving or by showing glowing red eyes. Those who see her eyes are said to have their lives ended by her, or she will cause you to go blind. Oh, and one last thing, if you sit on the statue's lap at midnight, you will die in 2 weeks. So, that's cool. Due to these urban legends, it led to much unwelcomed attention towards the statue. Many people were caught breaking into the cemetery at night to visit it, and the pedestal was frequently vandalized. So in response, the Angus family, disturbed by the attention the statue received, donated it to the Smithsonian in 1967. I know what you're thinking. It's just a statue, Emily. It can't hurt me. Well, apparently there are real stories about this statue taking people's lives. One man put a cigarette out on the statue, which is just disrespectful to begin with, and he was later found dead due to him getting pew-pewed in the head, if you know what I mean. Another man was found dead at the foot of the statue, and no one knows his cause of death. So if I were you, I'd stay far, far away from Black Aggie. Number 2, Abraham Lincoln's hat. Yes, the Smithsonian has acquired one of Honest Abe's hats, but just not any hat, the one he died in. So, of course, if you have an item of clothing that someone died in, I'm sure it's going to be haunted. The last time he put on this hat was to go to Ford's Theater in April 1865. After he died, his hat and everything from Ford's Theater was preserved. In 1867, it made its way to the Smithsonian, and it was originally put in the basement and not on display because they thought there was too much excitement at the time and kept it quiet. The Smithsonian didn't even reveal that they had the hat until 1893. It's now one of the Smithsonian's most treasured objects, and obviously it's haunted by Abe himself. A number of people have seen his apparition around the museum, and does that mean that him and Mary haunt the Smithsonian together? Cause that's a couple goals. And coming in at number 1 is the founder. Now this isn't any type of art or artifact, but it's said that James Smithson, the founding donor of the Smithsonian Institute, has been spotted wandering the organization's castles, home to its administrative and information headquarters, on numerous occasions. This starts to make a lot of sense when you learn that James's remains have been kept at the museum since 1904. James' frequent appearances were supposedly causing such a ruckus that in 1973, his remains were briefly dug up for investigation. His skeleton was in fact still safely in the coffin though, but there's nothing to say of his spirit. Other motives for him being dug up might have been to search for documents rumored to have been buried with him, but I want to think it's because they actually wanted to make sure that he was dead. He's not the only ghostly worker found wandering around though, as it's said that other former employees' apparitions have been spotted too, which is scary. Number 10. Cursed Maori warrior masks. Maoris are indigenous people of New Zealand, and according to Maori tradition, the warriors carve and paint masks before a battle, and it's said if they die, their spirits live on within the mask. The warrior mask is an important part of their tradition. Now, Maori tradition dictates that a menstruating woman is tapu or taboo, and so are the masks. So if both of them come into contact with each other, it would invoke a curse. Also, pregnant women are considered sacred. So a Maori museum in Wellington, New Zealand tells pregnant and menstruating women to stay away from several sacred Maori artifacts, including traditional Maori warrior masks, as they could invoke a curse. If this could happen, why would they even show it off? This would stress me out if I went or even worked in this museum. Number 9. Thomas Busby's chair. Popularly known as Busby's stoop chair, this wooden chair is cursed by the spirit of Thomas Busby, who, by the way, was known to end the lives of many people. In